What was the black market at your school? In high school there was this game/fad where people would try to stealth zip tie other people's bags to their desks, shoes together, whatever, so they'd be stuck when the bell rang. One guy sold the heavy-duty zip ties and another sold mini scissors for easy escape. My high school was really bad about this. Until one day a kid was sleeping on his desk and someone got a zip tie in his gauge and stuck it to the desk bar. Slapped him awake, and when he bolted upright the zip tie ripped his gauge out of his ear. Anybody caught with zip ties after that got immediate suspension. I was a substitute teacher at a charter school. The kids and the teachers liked me, so they kept bringing me back. I noticed there was a kid who brought a huge duffel bag every class, but he was also in sports, so I didn't really think of it. One day, he shows up with a can of the drink I had every day when he noticed I hadn't brought one. The kid was running a snack business out of his locker and the duffel bag was packed with snacks and soda. Most teachers usually shut it down in their room, but he didn't disrupt the class while I was there, and he had the monster flavor I liked. He was the current student selling and had inherited the business from a recently graduated senior. The school had tried to shut him down at least once. The kids noticed I didn't say anything, so they paid more attention in class, knowing I'd give them a minute or two at the end to get a snack. In elementary school my friend had a sticker maker, and we pumped out hundreds of stickers with Neopets on them. Everyone wanted them. We were making away like bandits before teachers started to get pissed. They were showing up all over the desks/walls/ etc. Eventually we got called into the principal's office and had to stop. Air potatoes. For those unaware, air potatoes are an invasive species of vines that grow to cover massive swathes of forest areas in Florida, and usually result in the death of everything they grow on as they suck the nutrients out of the surrounding flora. There was a gigantic infestation of these vines around my school, and they bore small, roughly golf ball-sized potatoes, which were very poisonous if eaten, perfect size fruits for pelting your enemies on the playground. Obviously 5th graders being in possession of weaponized poisonous potatoes was frowned upon, so you had to be careful not to get caught picking them. Eventually the whole school was covered in bruises and welts from the Great War of 2003 to 2005. Finally they built a fence around the playground and a ceasefire had to be declared as all remaining ammunition began to rot. Beating kids up. In grade 8, so 13 years old, there were a few hitmen, huge bully-type kids that would beat up anyone you wanted. Price started at $20. Within a few weeks it was up to $50. The hitmen were all independent, so you could pay one to beat up another. Lasted about 3 months when everyone came to school looking like hell. Fun fact, I missed getting beat up because the guy hired was too busy, so he kept the money and told me to tell everyone I was beat up. Win-win. Soft drinks became black market in my final year, as the health department had passed guidelines about selling them in schools. One of the teachers initially was selling them from his office but got shut down pretty quickly. So I decided to take it up. I'd get up early and drive past the supermarket on the way in and grab a 30-pack of Coke/Fanta/Sprite etc. Then I'd sell them from my car at lunch breaks. That got shut down too, so I shift my approach, ended up coming in early to school and dropping the cans off in various empty lockers around the school and padlocking them shut. Then at lunch I'd walk around with a bunch in my pockets and sell them, stocking up at the drop points as I continued my walk. Didn't really try to make money off it, was a bit more of a fuck you to the man. I am a teacher. We had 2 spawned by COVID. The first was toward the beginning of the outbreak. The school had a policy that if you have 2 symptoms of COVID you go home. So if a kid had a headache and wants Tylenol, that's one. But we live in an area with really bad allergies and almost everyone has runny nose/sore throat in the fall. So that's 2. Teachers pretty quickly turned a blind eye to bottles of ibuprofen being passed around by students to avoid going home. When we had a mask mandate, the office got tired of giving out masks to kids who broke/forgot them, so they started charging $5 to parents' accounts per mask, fairly rich private school, so this wouldn't cause a hardship for anyone. A kid's parents got annoyed about spending $5 per day, so they sent him to school with a box of masks to put in his backpack. One of his classmates forgot her mask, and I told her, well, you can go to the office and get one for $5, or student might sell you one for $3. And so the black market for masks was born. I heard later that a different teacher sent him to the office for it, so I checked in with my boss to make sure he didn't get in trouble. My boss laughed and said it was brilliant, then told me at his previous school there was a kid who rented out belts and ties to kids who forgot them to avoid dress code violations. Paper hornets. You'd load one up with a rubber band on the inner edge and launch the lil fucker at other people. Could often leave a lil bruise wherever it hit. Thing was, some people were good at making them, and some people were shit at making them. So the people who were bad at it would buy them off people who were good at it. I was very good at it, creating ones that would hit hard as fuck but fly like a dream. I routinely would get dimes for the simpler ones, but the crazier ones I'd sell for a quarter. I've posted this before, but it fits perfectly here. They got rid of the soda machines at my high school, which caused the students to get really pissed. A buddy of mine bought a bunch of 12 packs of store-brand sodas for $3 each and a huge cooler. He showed up the very next day after they removed the machines and charged $1 per soda. The demand was insane and he sold out each day right when lunch started. The staff got pissed and stopped allowing him to bring the cooler. So instead, he brought a huge gym bag that he claimed he needed for PE class and filled it with sodas. He couldn't keep up with the demand, so he cut another guy in and had him carry a gym bag too. Years after he graduated, his sister attended the same high school and someone asked her if her brother was the soda guy. He had become a legend just that fast, lol. Pirated games that had the copy protection cracked. This was in the early 90s when you had to have the documentation to solve the copy protection. With some clever programming, you could bypass that usually. I sold beer. Only person that knew it was me was the guy that took orders. He got the orders by WED and I bought it after school in another town and delivered it to him that night. I was using my brother's birth certificate. It worked for about 3 months and then every place I went turned me down one night. We both decided that his was a good run and time to quit. Me. In middle school I always had a JanSport book bag full of Warheads, Reese's, now or Laters, and Snickers. Also always kept 3 to 5 SNES games on me that I beat to trade or rent out. I made about $5 to $8 daily. Mostly spent on upgrading my lawn mowing business in the trailer park or for more SNES games. I'm 41. My brother did a brisk business for a time in selling cold bottles of Coke from his locker in high school from a chilled cooler. The school had switched from Coke to Pepsi vending machines and he serviced the die-hard Coke aficionados. Smarties, after the administration banned them. One of my classmates found out that crushing up Smarties into powder, dumping it all into his mouth, and blowing it looked like smoke. Suddenly half of the student body is smoking Smarties. The administration freaked out trying to control the situation, attempted to prevent over 900 middle schoolers from possessing Smarties. Letters were sent to parents. Local news stations were interviewing people in the parking lot. It was asinine to say the least. One classic entrepreneurial type started buying bulk Smarties by the pound and selling them for $1 a piece during lunch. Did so for about a month. He made over $1,000, and was eventually suspended. My art. I sold custom hentai drawings. Best one? Girl wanted a birthday card for her grandpa, with a nude cat girl. High school freshman year, 2009. I still have that whole art binder full of sketchbooks and categorically organized art. Gay online Naruto Neopets etc. Lamau. Edit if anyone wants to see, I can maybe dig them out, haha. When I was in middle school, we used to have this thing called punish work. It was basically this sheet of paper that was probably like 8 paragraphs long, basically saying in a fancy way that you broke the rules and are being punished for it. You even had to get your parents to sign it. And at the end it said, was it worth it? If you did something that wasn't like suspension worthy, you'd get issued punish work. You would basically have to write that entire sheet word for word top to bottom. Depending on what you did, you'd get issues 1 sheet, sometimes 2. I've had 3 and 4 before. Doing the punish work really wasn't that horrible. But who wants to sit here and write that whole thing? Nobody. So some of us started offering to write people's punish work for them for money. Sometimes snacks at recess or a pack of cookies at lunch. I'd charge $2 a sheet. If you didn't have $2, I wanted a snack at recess. Or like I said, a pack of cookies at lunch. There was at one point, when I had people specifically come to me to write their punish work for them BC they knew I was good for it. So sometimes I'd just randomly write a sheet out in my spare time to get ready for the next deal. My stepbrother at the time too, he started forging people's parents' signatures for them BC he was good at cursive writing. So that was another aspect of the black market punish work hustle. In 5th grade I smarted off to a cop at school. And my asshole teacher made me stay inside for recess every day for like 2 weeks and write punish work instead. At the end of those 2 weeks, I stole all my punish work sheets I'd written, and I started selling them to classmates. By the time I was in 8th grade, I had that sheet basically memorized. And at the end of the sheet, how it said, was it worth it? One time I got it for something stupid as fuck. So I wrote below it, yes it was worth it bro, and I got issued more sheets lamau. Nice, it's finally my time to shine in this sub. This is my only interesting story. Back when I was in middle school, my school had a very strict no candy, sweets, or soda policy, due to the Obama administration fighting against obesity and whatnot. So there would be lunch monitors that would go around tables to collect any and all items. Skittles, chocolate, you name it. I did not see a barrier, but an opportunity. So I came up with a plan to start smuggling in the forbidden fruits into the school. There was a local Hispanic grocery store near me that sold huge bags of these weird stoplight lollipops. Since the kids weren't accustomed to these foreign goodies, I was able to charge a cool 50 cents per candy, and was taking in $15, $20 a day during my prime. Eventually, as the word got out, teachers would notice my signature calling card, the same Spanish wrapper. It was showing up everywhere, but none could figure out why. My friends, seeing the potential, started asking to help move my product for a cut of the profits. I paid them $5 a week, what a bunch of suckers, to help distribute the candy throughout the school, and grow my empire into the conjoined high school right down the road through the help of their siblings. I was truly turning into the head of a school mafia. Eventually, my crimes caught up to me, and I was told to stop or else I would risk suspension, but not before I made out with at least $500. As a senior I was 18 and old enough to be a stock boy at a liquor store, even though you had to be 21 to buy. The owner was a rich old widow who definitely had a thing for me, and she wound up putting me in charge of the books and auditing the store. Needless to say, I started a side hustle supplying booze to my entire high school. I took orders during the week, and had them ready for Friday nights, delivering everything out of the trunk of my car. I made roughly $3,000 a week for about 9 months. It ended with the woman selling the store and buying one closer to where she lived. She lived about 1 hour away, and the new owners were a couple who cleaned house of all current employees so they could run the store themselves to save money. The widow's new store mysteriously burned down 3 months later, but that's another story. When the new owners audited the store, they called me asking if I could come in and help them with the books because something wasn't adding up, and I told them to pound sand since they fired everyone without notice. Heard from another ex-employee who worked at a pizza shop next door. They chalked it up to the widow not knowing how to run her business and running herself into the ground. In hindsight, I was lucky it ended when and how it did, because I would have definitely gotten caught at some point. Saved up enough money to buy a new truck in cash right before leaving for college and having money in my account to get me through freshman year without working more than 20 hours a week. I've since rolled that truck into every new vehicle I've owned as an adult.
In this little shop of horrors, that's how we get down. Yeah, enter the projects on the prairie, scary. Greet you at the gate with Bloody Marys. Blood, a rail full of blood. Back to the cemetery, get more blood. Standing on the grave, drinking blood, smoking bones. We seen a crew of crews running by with stolen tombstones. With Hell's Angels on the chase, they lost the bus, a black skull, want you embrace. They tie you up in chains and they stomp on your face. They go to purgatory and they beat the fucking case. I look around, mad bodies being buried in the